Mesachta Bava basra daf ayin vav amud aleph. We're starting from 12 lines from the bottom of ayin hey amud beis. Itma. Itma, we learn svina b'negei to be kaina svina. There's a machlekes of amarayim. And how much of Mashiach do you need? Rav Amar Kivna Shemashach Kolshu Kona. Rav says the moment that he was Meshach already a drop, a tefach or a chatzi tefach, that's enough for it to be kain. To just nudge it a little bit, and if it moves a tefach or a chatzi tefach, that's what the Rashbam says. The Rashbam says Rav holds Shadai b'Mashiach Kolshu Yishel Asvina Tefach li chatzi tefach and no kedei lo kneisa. Even though it didn't fully go out of its parking space to a new place, he moved it a little bit, it's already enough. That's according to Rav. Meshicha, yeah. Shmuel says you need a bigger Meshicha. Shmuel says you have to take the whole length, yeah? You have to move a new parking spot. Can't be in the old parking spot. It has to be completely moved away from its place where it was from before. Zog the Gemara, let me tell you. You take, they have tugboats, it's nothing. Or there's a motor, yeah. Or you need a tugboat, another ship, you go push it. Okay. In fact, you want to let us say this machlekes of Rav and Shmuel, who Amarayim, arguing the same machlekes in the following machlekes of Tanoim Ketzad. It says over there, how is one kaina behema b'mesira? So there's sometimes it's b'mesira, sometimes it's b'mshicha. If it's a big animal like shvadim, I'm only saying over the Rashbam now. The Rashbam says if it's the grace a behema gas, behema gedolos with behema gas like shvadim, oxen, susim, chamodim, predim, and mules. It's too heavy. So then it says you just mesira, you give over meshicha to pull mesira, but nish meshicha. Behema daka, those are done with meshicha. So he says over here, it's very hard. If he's stubborn, he's not going to move. He's not moving. Kate said, how are we kind of behema b'mesida? By a behema gasa, it's b'mesida. You give over what? Achoza b'talfa. He holds on to the how do you call it? The hoofs. He holds on to the hoofs of the foot of the animal, or the oy bisada, or the hair. Or the saddle, or shlif, or with the shalah, you hold on to the packages that are on the behema, or with the bit in its mouth. It's the muzzle. Let's call it the muzzle. Or the bell that's on its neck. So if he did so, according to the tzigui, if the meicha says, just hold on to this, and he holds on, you should not king it. That's the mesida. No, it doesn't have to be from the hand of the meicha to give it over to the hand of the koina. All he has to do is be mitzvah. The Rashbam says, "Nishtal amal zazeh." But by this mesida, dafin is ibegeben. The meicha doesn't have to give physically from his hand to the koina's hand. He just has to tell the koina, hold on to this, and no, you're going to be koina. So the Gemara, Ketzad. How is it that he's kind of a Mashiach? So the koina calls the animal, the animal comes to him. Or he gives a hazetz with a stick, he hits it with a stick, but that's still in front of him and runs in front of him. Since it picked up one foot, the front foot, yod is called the front foot. And you could sometimes, yes, sometimes, but the normal, he says, the derech is mesira. The derech by behema daka is meshicha. If you could do meshicha, whatever the derech is, that's what we do. Here, mesira meshicha is the same because it's not the mesira that's coming from the hand of the meicha to lekech. It's the meicha is just telling him, just hold on to this and you'll be kaina. So it's in the same geda, no, he's moving it. Meshicha, you're moving it. Mesida, you're not moving it. Here, the Mesida. So what happened over here? He hits it with a stick. It goes. Here, Meshicha, it's moving. It picked up one foot, the front foot and the back foot, one of each. Come on, that's a kinyan. Ravachi says, others say, The behemoth is not going out to halich malik until it goes its full length.
Like by the ship.
Like by the ship. That's what we're saying. That's exactly what we're saying. Lema, let us say, Rav, who's the Amida, who says that it's enough just to move the ship a little bit, at Tefcha Chatzi Tefcha, Dama Ketanakama. He says like the Tanakama in this Braisa. What does the Tanakama say? All you need is that it should pick up the front foot and the back, one foot in the front and one in the back. It's enough. Shmuel, who's the other who argues enough, who's on Amida Bazak, as the whole Svina has to be moved into a new parking spot, it can't just be moved. He says like Rabbi Yacha, who says a behema has to go its full length. So let us say Rav and Shmuel are arguing in the machlekes of Tanoim. So Rav will say, Rav could say, Ano, the Amri, that I could even say I feel Rabbi Yacha. I, who says you only have by the ship, you only have to move a tefcha chatzi tefach. I could even say like Avacha, but a behema has to go for the whole length. Why? Only when did Rabbi Yacha say that the whole animal has to move the full length by Balchai? Why? Even even though it picks up the front foot and the back foot, but it's staying in one place because the other feet are still staying. It's not moving at all. So that's why he says it has to move of the whole length. Once the ship moved, the front and the back moved a little bit, they all moved. Yeah. So the whole ship really moved. The front and the back are not in the same place if it moved a little bit. Shmuel, who says that by a ship, the whole ship has to move. He says, I know the Amri, I feel the Tanakama, Kidas Tanakama. I can even say like the Tanakama, who says that all you need by a Balchai, you should pick up 2 feet, the front and the back. So when did we say by Tanakama, all he has to do is pick up the front and the back foot? They're keeping them once it lifts 1 foot and a front foot and a back foot, it's automatically going to make the animal move the other 2 feet, and it's going to move. So it's going to move a full length. But a svina, if you move the whole ship from its place, good. If you're not going to move it, whatever you're going to move, that's where it's staying. Therefore, it's not going to be a kinyan. So you can't compare the two. He says each one can learn like Beit Tanoim. So the Nishkanaya has the Amoraim ultimately the Tanoim. You have no right that the Amoraim hold like the Tanoim because each Amoraim can learn according to both Tanoim. In fact, you know what, you're right. Let's go to a different case. Let us say Rav and Shmuel are arguing in this machlokes of Tanoim. The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. Svina. Different Tanoim. Now, he says, let us say Rav and Shmuel are arguing like Tanoim, and that's always a shaila because Amoraim are already arguing in the machlokes of Tanoim. So he says, which Tanoim? The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. Svina niknes b'mshicha. It says a svina is acquired through meshicha, through pulling. You have Nos Neima, svina, the oisies. You have Nosan argues, and he says a svina and oisies, they are Tanoim. Rabbi. Rav is, when it says Rav is an Amira. Rabbi is a Tana. So Rabbi Nosan Neima, Rabbi Nosan Zak, svina, the oisies, niknes b'meshicha ubishtar. What does it mean, oisies? Oisies means a shtar chayiv. You have the paper, and they have the oisies that says that the loiva owes the malva $1,000. That's the oisies. So how could somebody be kohen shtar chayiv? So there's 2 things. There's the meshicha part. That's only being kohen of the paper. That's paper. It's not a davar shego for mummy. What about the part of the toichen that you can become the bal chayiv? That you can, yes, you now could demand the money from the loiva. The shtar was transferred to you. How does that transfer? That's what a shtar. That the malva has to write to your shtar. I'm being makna this chayiv that's owed to me. That now you could collect that chayiv. So that's already, you need a separate shtar. Chutz from the meshicha, you need another shtar saying that you're being acquired. Yeah. So the Tanakhama never spoke about a shtar chayiv. Look at the beginning of the Brisa. It says Svina Nichnas b'Mashicha. He never spoke about Oisius. Is he coming up Nasan? He says Svina v'Oisius. The Tanakama never spoke about Oisius. You're right. Chsuri Masera. There's missing words in the Brisa. And this is how you have to learn the Brisa. Svina Nichnas b'Mashicha. V'Oisius b'Masida. It says the Tanakama said the Svina is to Mashicha. And the Oisius, all you need is to give it over, but you don't need a separate star saying that you could that the chayv is transferred to you. You don't need that. Mesida is enough. Rabbi Svina v'Oisius nichnas b'Mashicha ubishtar. Rabbi Nosson says side the Svina, side the Oisius needs side Mashicha and side a star. So they're arguing side by a ship and side by Oisius. The Tanakama says Svina is acquired with Mashicha, and Rabbi Nosson says Svina is only with Mashicha and a star. And the Oisius, the Tanakama says all you need is Mesida, and Rabbi Nosson says no, Mesida and a star. We're going to get to it now. So you want a star with Svina? Lamali. Why would you need a star for Svina? B'chlal, a star is only for Karka. It says, if you remember the story that that's metaltalin, sure, Svina is metaltalin. Like it says, the Chacham learned from Yirmiyahu. You remember Rekasim is safe from the Chasim. He told them before you go to Golus, make sure you write it, the documents, the deeds that you're buying from the Svarim, from the Karka, hide it. Write it on and hide it. It's a star. And this pasuk was said only by Avodi, by Karka, an Avodim who have a din like Hakois. But the government Taltalin, you don't need the star. There's no mucker for a star. Okay? Or just Mashicha. That we know. So where is a star? Star is Svina Lamali. But we know for Metaltalin, Mashicha is the whole din. There's no din of star b'chlal by Metaltalin. So Metaltalin, it's not Metaltalin, so how can you say you need a star? He says, no, that wasn't the kavanah of the Braisa. You have to change the word. The kavanah of the Braisa was Svina, you have to separate it. Svina niknes b'Mashicha. This is the Tanakama. This is the same. The Svina is acquired through Mashicha. The Oisius and Ashtar Chayv is b'Masida. The Tanakama holds you don't need a star for Oisius if there's a Masida. And here's the stronger Masida. If you have a Masida that's coming, here we're talking about that the Moicha gives over the star chayv to the lekeach, or to the one who he wants to transfer to, call it the buyer. He sold him 10 cents to $1, and he sells him the chayv, and he just passes it over to him. That's the strongest thing. You don't need a star. Once the meicha, the malva, gave over his star chayv, he gave the malva himself. Yeah, right. But the malva gave it miyad. It went miyad liyad, not like before. At the mizag, go just grab onto the saddle and you'll be kaina. That's not the Masida here. No, you don't need a star. The Tanakama says you don't need a star. He takes the star that he has against the loiva. He has a star, and he gives it over to the koina who bought it for 10 cents to $1. He gives it over, so it goes miyad malva to the yad koina. Yeah, he gives him over the star. So it's miyad liyad. It's not like it's a different Masida. It's from hand to hand. That's a much stronger Masida. But the Rabbi Nosson doesn't agree with that. Rabbi Nosson says, Svina b'Mashicha. The Oisius b'Shtar. And Oisius, in addition to Mashicha, you need to have a star. If you look, the Rashbam says b'Feidish that it means b'Noisiv l'Mashicha. B'Noisiv to the Mashicha, you need a star. So now he's not learning Svina v'Oisius b'Mashicha u'b'Shtar. Now he changed the words around. Before we learned Svina ve'Oisius b'Mashicha u'b'Shtar, so we asked, Svina also needs Mashicha and a star. Who come to a star by Svina? Metaltalin doesn't have a star. So he says, you have to break up the words. Svina is b'Mashicha. No mention star. Ve'Oisius, in addition to Mashicha, you have a star. He adds a star. Okay?
So what's the right?
Wait, so the kasha is Svina b'Mashicha, Haino Tanakama. If Rabbi Nosson is saying Svina is with Mashicha, and the Tanakama says also Svina is b'Mashicha, so they're saying the same thing. Oh, Zakimara. Usually, if Rabbi Nosson is coming after the Tanakama, he's coming to be mechadish. What is he coming to be mechadish? That you don't need the same strong meshicha like the Tanakama. The Tanakama holds a meshicha is genug chatzita. And Rabbi Nosson, when he said svina b'meshicha, he obviously, that's what we say, that the second one always comes to be mechadish. So he's obviously coming to be mechadish, saying the same words, but obviously they're arguing. Why would you mention it again? So he's saying the Tanakama said the lesser chiddush, the svina b'meshicha chatzita. He says no, svina has to be much more.
Where do you see that in this word?
You don't. He says, because they both said the same thing, obviously one is coming to require more. Right.
So what do you say, that the Nosson require more?
Yeah. Taisa says the reverse. Rabbi Nosson added by the star, I'm sorry, by the choy, that by the trance of the choy, not only is Mesira, the Tanakama says Mesira is enough. Rabbi Nosson came to add, in addition to Mesira, you also need a star. So according to this Piddish, so he says by King, yeah, so he says the same thing, that by Rabbi Nosson is coming to add that you don't need that you don't need a Meshicha Gemura. You don't need a complete. You don't have to move the whole ship. He's coming to add, even he's makel, that even he has to be mechadish something. So that's what Tosfos asked. So it should be the reverse. Very good, and that's why Tosfos learns the reverse.
Usually the second guy is always machmir.
Right. But Tosfos is learning the reverse.
So he holds by his coming,
right. So
He's saying the same words.
Right, but since they're saying the same words, they must be arguing, and the second one is adding a chiddush. So the Rashbam says he's adding the chiddush that you don't have to move the whole ship. So he says that by
a ship, he's makel. So this he's makel, there he's machmir.
no. So if he's machmir, that's what the Tosfos says. If he's being machmir by the mesida, by the oisiyos, then he's going to be machmir also by the ship, that you should have to move the whole ship. But the Rashbam says no. It's only by the oisiyos, not by here. Okay, so Kuliyama, everybody, Ikirav, Ikishmul, everybody's masking either like Rav or like Shmuel. Svina, Kuliyama, like Pligi. By Svina, nobody's arguing. Keep Pligi. They both said the same thing. It's not an argument. Keep Pligi. Where are they arguing? Only in the oisiyos. Why did they say the same thing? How does it fit in, these words? And this is how he's saying to him. Rabbi Nosson the Tanakama. Rabbi Nosson says this way to the Tanakama. He says, Bisvina vade medina lo. By Svina, I'm made to you. Meshich is enough. You don't need more. Right. I argue on you. If there's a star in addition to the Mesira, in is Yamas Kinyan. Avali loy, but if you don't have a star in addition to the Mesira loy, it's not going to be a Kinyan. So I got it. So this is not the place where the Amarayim are arguing the same machlokes of Tanoi. So he says, Ubepluk, now the Gemara is mayor a different order. Ubepluk to the Hane Tanoi, this Indian of Kinyan Oisiyos, where the Tanakama and Rabbi Nosson were arguing, the Tanakama says, all you need is Mesira. Rabbi Nosson says, in addition to Mesira, you need a star. The Tanya Oisiyos Niknis Me Mesira did Rabbi. Rabbi is the one that holds that Oisiyos is Niknis with Mesira. So Rabbi holds like the Tanakama that says also that a Svina is B'Mashicha, right? And the Chacham say, Bein Kosa v'loi Masa. Bein Masa v'loi Kosa. Whether by Oisiyos, if he gave it over and he didn't write a star, or he wrote a star and he didn't give it over, Rabbi Nosson will say it's no good. Loi Kane is not going to be Kainat, Sheyichtav Loi, V'gam Yimser Loi, till he'll do both. So, in fact, so let's understand. You said the words of the Tanakhama in the first Baraisa is Kirabi. is like Rebbe. The first price that says Svina is b'Meshicha, and Oasis is b'Mesira. That goes like Rebbe. So according to Rebbe, Svina nami tikna b'Mesira. Svina should also be acquired through Mesira. Why do you have to do a Meshicha to move the ship? Mesira, let him just give over the ropes of the ship. And now we'll have to move the ship. Because Rebbe holds, you're saying Rebbe is the one that holds like the Tanakama, that says, Svina b'Meshicha, right? And Oisios b'Mesira. But he holds by Svina, you need Meshicha. No, it's not true. If that's Rebbe, Rebbe allows even Mesira. You don't even have to move the boat. You can just give over the rope of the boat. Where do we see that? The Tanya. Oh, the Tanya. We're going to show you that Rebbe holds that Mesira is enough. The Tanya, we learned in Abraisa. Svira niknes b'Mesira. Svira is acquired through Mesira to Rebbe. So you see, Rebbe says Mesira is enough. You don't have to pull the ship. A rope is good to just give over the rope. The Chachamim say no, he's not going until he actually makes a movement to the ship, moves the ship. Oi, Yisker. That's the machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. Oi, Yiskas Mekayma. Or if the karka that he's on belongs to the moicha, so then he would have to rent the karka from the moicha to be able to be kind the ship. He can do it through that way because Meshicha will not help. Or karka means over here the area that is shus over here. He has to bring it into his shus. And over here it's not in his shus, or he has to bring it at least into a place where he could have rishus to have balabatishkai. So he says, okay, so but I said according to Rabbi L'chayda, you can be kind of the svida also with the svida. So why'd you say dafke Mashiach? Says kasha. That's not a question. Kan b'shusarab. The second b'raisa that Rabbi said that you can be kind of the svina b'mesida is talking about a svina that's b'shusarab. In a shusarab, Mashiach is not a kinyan. That's for sure. Right, you can't. Mashiach has to be brought in your rishus. You're not. It's in the shlulis hayam that the svina mesira. If he gives over the rope, that's enough. Mesira because the havara meshicha you can't. Meshicha you have to. Meshicha means you're pulling it into your rishus, but it's in the rishus haram. You cannot do meshicha. You can. Here he says, what is meshicha? The Indian Mashiach is bringing it into your rishus. Because it's in the shlulis hayam, it's in the rishus harabim. Harei mesida he oifen masim lekinyan. The Rashbam says that's the fitting kinyan for the rishus harabim.
What does he say? You just give him over the ropes?
Yes. Yeah. Kinyan mesida in itzorach. Kinyan mesida in itzorach le'yosa dafke b'shus shel hakoyna. Mesida doesn't have to be done in the rishus of the buyer. And he says the kinyan mesida is havoras hachifetz me'es hamoicha lekoyna. What is the whole meaning of kinyan mesida? Passing over the object from but he gives him neither the rope or whatever, the rope of the ship, from the moicha to the kaina. Upe'ula zeh. This action has an effect gam b'shus harab. That's what the Rashbam says. Okay, so it says the Gemara, so kan, but in the first b'raisa, so whatever is the normal kinyan, that's the kinyan, and the other kinyan is not going to be a good kinyan. In the Rishus HaRabim, the only normal kinyan would be Mesira. Mashiach is not shy. In the Rishus HaYachid, in his own Rishus HaYachid, he's supposed to do Mashiach, because that's the derech. So he says, Bisim, since...
If you want to sell, let's say, you sell your horse, or your donkey, whatever it is.
It depends where you are, of course, yes.
Or into his shoes, you got to pull it.
Right.
But in the street, just here's my horse.
Right. Besimta says Gemara Besimta. What is a simta? Simta is a street. There's a little street, side street that goes out of the Rishus Harabim. In those streets, in those simta, that everybody has rishus to settle there, bring and there it's to make it their rishus temporarily. So then Mashiach helps, and that's what the first brayso that says that you need a Mashiach is talking about that. Where was the ship in a simta in an area that it's off the rishus
So
Harabim.
for the while, it's like yours.
So for that while, that temporarily, that area you can make it for your area.
Private pier.
He calls it Mokim Haroy Sheyesh Shareyesh Rishus Lechol Adam Lashavis Sham. Ulefi Koch Nechshavis Hi Kirishus Shal Kol Adam Hanintzah Sham. Umeshichas Hachevas Nechshavis Bot Kachnos L'Rishusay. And when you pull it, it's like bringing it into your
Rishus.
rishus.
They have a parking lot. You can park your car.
Over there. So that parking lot, that wherever you park, that's your rishus, but temporarily. Yeah, that's your rishus. Very good. Yeah. So if you want to b'mayu kim telahab b'raisa, how are we going to explain this last b'raisa? Look, in which Rebbe was made that svina is nickness b'masira in the last b'raisa, right? Because he said it was where b'shus harabim. Says you want to look at that seif of the b'raisa. Ema seif. It says in the seif of the b'raisa, "Achachomim oimrim lo yikona ad sheyim shechana." Chacham say you need dafka Mashiach. We're talking about Rishus Harabim. The Rishus Harabim. You explained why Rabbi said Mesida in the second Bryce and the last Bryce, which we're talking about, is just Rishus Harabim. The Chacham said it's only good through Mashiach. If it's a Rishus Harabim, Miman Oiger. From whom is he renting a Rishus Harabim? You said you have to rent it. That it should become that area should become yours. Rishus Harabim you cannot rent. It belongs to everybody. Vesu, and even more so. Mashiach Rishus Harabim Kanya. If you're saying he's going to do a Mashiach Rishus Harabim help mich nicht. But Abai they had both said Mesira Koina Rishus Harabim. Mesira, he said the finish. Yeah, is Koina only Mesira is Koina Rishus Harabim. Or v'chatza sheinu shel shneim, or in a chatza that doesn't belong to neither, not the Koina Namecha. Only Mesira will help. Mashiach is kind of besimta. Besimta is like a private rishus, or bechatza sheishal shneim, or bechatza that belongs to both of them. V'hagbah kind of b'chol. Now he's time saying hagbah is kind of everywhere, even in the rishus hamoicha, because when you're doing hagbah, it's like going into you, and it's like you're bringing into your rishus. Pick up the behemoth, right? He says tamadov mipnei shemagbiya chayvetz harei. It's like he's putting it in his hand, so it's like it went into his private hand. So he's going to, yeah, good. So my what was the kavanah when the Chachamim said that you need dafka Mashiach in the sefer where it's talking about Rishus Harabim? And what did it mean that till he rents a place, how could he be renting a Rishus Harabim? So this was the kavanah of the brayso. Doesn't mean till he'll make a Mashiach in the Rishus Harabim, till he'll pull it from the Rishus Harabim into the simta. Oh, then Mashiach helps. And if it's in the rishus of the Baal Hasvina, loy kana, he cannot be kaina if it's in the Meicha's hands. Till he'll rent from the Meicha his place. That was the kavanah of the Bryce in the Sefer. In fact, you better lay me Abai Barabba. How many can Rebbe? Are you going to say Abai Barabba saying like Rebbe, and not like the Chachamim? Abai Barabba saying that Mashiach won't help.
What did Rebbe say?
Mashiach, we are talking about a case that what? Making a Mashiach from the Rishus Harabim to the Simta. That's how he's supposed to be acquire the ship, right? In fact, the Gemara. So, but and Rebbe says, no, that's what the Chachamim say. Till this Mashiach, and Rebbe says Dafka Mesira, only Mesira. So, because he's starting the Mashiach in Rishus Harabim. So should we say? And you said Abai Barabba holds like Rebbe, it won't help. Mashiach, you need Mesira. So how could it be that Abai Barabba are paskening like Rebbe, who says B'Rishus Harabim only Mesira will help? and not Meshicha into a Simta, L'cheda, the Chacham, they're going against the Chachamim, and Abai with Rabba will pass him like a Yochid against the Rabbim. Ravashi says, no, you have the case wrong. The case is talking about either Amalei, where the Meicha said to the Koina, Leik, Chazek, Uknei. Number one, he told him, go make a Chazak and be Koina. This is number one. The Meicha said to the Koina.
And when was it? When was it?
It was in the Shesrab, and the Koina did according to the command of the Meicha. Hachinami, in such a case, even the Chacham Ha'amoida, that he'll be Koina with Mesida, even if it's in the Shesrab, Mesida will help. Chacham say you need Meshicha, but if he told him Lei Chazek Ukni, Mesida will be good enough. Is a king. But Chacham,
He's saying you can do any you want.
if he tells him Lei Chazek Ukni in the Shesrabim, Mesida will be good enough.
Because he's saying whatever kinyan you do.
Yeah, you tell him go make a chazak and make a. But Chachma is skin. So what are they arguing about? If everybody agrees, if he tells him the case is Lei Chazek Ukni, even Mesida helps. Chachma is skin over here. It's talking about the Amalei Leich Mishoich Ukni. He used the word Mishoich. Mishicha. So we're not sure if he was so makbid. Mar Sova, the Chacham say Kveda. If he used the word Mishoich, he wanted Dafke the Kinyan Sol Zayin Doch Mishicha. But Mar Sova, Rabbi says no. Maramakimolei. It's not. He's not makbid. He's telling him. He's giving him the shoes to be Kaina. And he says Mishaych, he didn't mean Dafke Mishaych, even through Mesira. This time he said Mishaych is Zekreima. He says you can take it immediately into your Rishus, and meaning that you'll be kind of even through Mesira. And that's how we'll finish over here.